Hi guys, and today's movie that you don't hate. Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker.
All right, so this is the third chapter of the sequel trilogy. All right, it was after the interesting choices that Rian Johnson made with The Last Jedi.
Right.
The curiosity was still there of what Episode 9 was going to be like.
I mean, so curious because he set so many things into play. We all were wondering, like, how are they going to end this story?
Yeah, was there going to be a real significant time jump? Were we going to see Broom Boy older?
Broom Boy.
What was going to be the...
forgot about Broom Boy.
What's the deal? We have no idea. So, you know what? Hey, it came out, and there has been a lot of issues with the whole production. But
you can't even mention Rise of Skywalker around Star Wars fans because they will just leave.
Yeah, and but you know what? Hey, we are going to prove that you do not hate this movie.
Right.
If you have not seen You Don't Hate, we are actually going to break down the movie in 5 different parts. We're going to break it down by plot, acting, directing / writing, visual effects / action sequences, and character breakdown, more or less.
Yeah.
After that, we'll
figure it out.
tally up the scores and prove to you that you do not hate Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Of course, all you Star Wars fan groups and member groups and message boards, you guys really don't hate this movie. Even though if I mention it in one of those groups, you guys will just tear into me, but you really don't hate this movie.
All right, so this particular episode is dedicated to Jeff, at Jeff Spurzone. Jeff Garcia, this is for you, buddy. This is for you. So, Terrence?
Wait, does he defend Rise of Skywalker?
He cannot stand Rise of
We
Skywalker.
also need to add Art and Marshall onto that list.
Yes, we will. Yeah, Bearded Forever. At Bearded Forever. This is for
Oh
you
wait,
too.
no. Art actually does like Rise of Skywalker. It's just Marshall that hates it.
Yeah, he hates Force Awakens. That's the one Art hates. All right. So, Terrence, what is the plot of Episode 9?
All right, so the plot of Episode 9, Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, is to fix all of the stuff that Rian Johnson got wrong in The Last Jedi. We're gonna change everything. All the stuff that he did, gone. Broom Boy, gone. The whole weird relationship between Finn and that Asian chick, gone. Rose, right? That's her name, Rose. The relationship between Finn and
Rey.
and Rey, gone. The relationship between Finn and Poe, gone. Captain Phasma, gone. We still didn't really explain if she's alive or dead. All of that stuff's just going to be completely forgotten, and JJ's going to come in here and rewrite what we will affectionately call a scavenger hunt. Because all they're doing in this movie is looking for shit. They're not doing anything specifically. They're just looking for things that somehow lead them to someplace else. It's like an episode of like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
Star Wars edition. Rey the Explorer, Star Wars edition. That's all they're doing. They're following a map to something, and then when they get to that map of something, they're going to something else, and then that something else will lead them to this lost place of where the Sith are. But if there were so many ways to find out where the Sith was at, how are they not findable? Shouldn't somebody else have already found them by then if these things existed? I mean, at the beginning of the movie, Kylo goes right there. The movie should have been over in the first 5 minutes.
You found him right there. And guess what? If you would have just killed him right there,
This movie's done.
this movie's over.
right.
And guess what? You're the leader of the Sith.
So that is the plot of Rise of Skywalker in my version.
Supreme leader? Nah. The entire Sith leader, the leader of the entire Sith. That's what he would have been. All right.
Yep.
So
All of it.
the plot of it, you're absolutely right. It felt more like a video game than anything. Now, granted, I'm going to give you this, or I'll just tell you this. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun because
Yes.
you're going on these different adventures and everything. But you said something during prep that I thought hit the nail right on the head. And that was that it completely lost focus on any kind of continuity from The Last Jedi.
Right.
Anything and everything. It was almost the only continuity was fixing everything that it did instead of continuing on
It's
what it
been
did.
so much time
and maybe
fixing stuff.
change it up a little bit to where, you know, it's still along the same lines, in the same timeline. It's just you're going to put your spin on what Rian Johnson did. We'll get to that to directing. But as far as the plot is concerned, I did not like the plot.
I did not like the plot. Like I said, I will accept the fact that JJ had a different vision from Force Awakens, that Rian Johnson had his own separate vision in Last of Jedi, and that JJ wanted to continue his vision from Force Awakens. I will accept the fact that he had to change some things and he had to kind of course correct. I accept that. But I feel that the setup of this movie was wasting time. And it was like he had no other reason but to give like some reason why they didn't just go there, so he could, while they're trying to get to where they're trying to get, I can now fix all the stuff that Rian Johnson did. He just almost just gave them a reason to not be where they need to be just so he could fix things.
Right. And we're not starting out too good. So Terrence, let's see the scoreboard now and give hate the point.
Maybe you do hate this movie.
So far, 1-0. We're not looking good. All right,
Maybe
second
you
one,
did.
acting. All right, so you have pretty much the core group of the second the sequel trilogy with Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega.
Yes.
You have some new additions with Kerry Russell. Some nostalgia. You got some nostalgia back. You got Billy D. Williams back. So the acting, to me, with given what they had to work with, I did not have a problem with it. I liked it a lot. What do you think?
They've chosen good actors in this whole sequel trilogy. I mean, we haven't had a problem with them in the first two films. Why we have a problem with them right now? I don't even think that there was a problem as far as the writing of dialogue. I think everything was, for the most part, pretty good, and that they did good with what they had. I've never had a problem with what they did in any of the other films, so I don't have a problem with what they're doing in this one.
I liked Daisy Ridley a lot more in this movie.
I think that
than I did in Last Jedi.
Right, so I think they finally got her. I mean, in this film, they got her out of the, oh my God, what's going on? Do I have these powers? Like, now she's like, all right, look, I got it. Let's go and wreck some shit. So, and that just gave her, it's kind of like how we looked at, Luke was a different person from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back. Where like he felt more
from Star Wars to Empire, he was different.
Yeah.
From Empire to
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, he was different.
Yeah, I mean, because he's basically like, okay, I got this now. I understand what my point is. To where like, dude, let me just end this. And when he gets to Jedi, so and she's at the Jedi point where it's like, let's just get this over with right now. Okay. So I mean, and that's how she played it, and I believed it in that role. I believed her in that role.
So when you see her in Force Awakens, and she's kind of like that fish out of water type of thing, and then in which I see that vulnerability and that naiveness that she has in Force Awakens, to the little bit of growth that she has in The Last Jedi, and she is trying to figure out, like she says, her part in all of this. Okay, so I see that that curiosity and what she's trying to do, to really get a hold of what of the Force and everything that she knows with it. And this one, she pretty much has it, more or less. Now she's still training, which you'd figure that she would have been fully, because Luke technically was like what, a few years after Empire when he becomes a Jedi. So I think the time jump between Empire and Jedi is 5 years, isn't it?
It's kind of like a baseball player, and he was like, I know how to swing and hit a ball, but I'm still gonna go to the batting cage and just just hit some balls, right?
But anyway, regardless, I did like a lot of what she was all about in this one. Her understanding who she is when she finds out she's Palpatine's granddaughter and all that. I think there could have been a little bit more of emotion there. But overall, I didn't have a problem with it. Carrie Fisher, you know what? Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed away before this movie was made. So a lot of the stuff that you see with her is actually deleted scenes from Force Awakens. So she was good in Force Awakens, so I can't knock her acting here because it's technically from Force Awakens.
It's the same exact
I'm good.
acting.
I'm doing the like. What do you think?
I give it a like too. I think it was all Rey focused. Even Poe had some scenes and Finn had some scenes, but most of this movie was Rey. So she's the biggest piece of it. I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it too.
I think it deserves a like.
All right. Like. There it is. All right. Tied 1-1.
1-1. Now we're back on the board.
Now we're back on the board, and we're about to fall off. Directing. Writing.
Oh, man.
Okay, so this movie was actually originally going to be directed by Colin Trevorrow, who actually had an idea of
Release the Trevorrow cut.
Yeah, release the Trevorrow cut. But Colin Trevorrow actually had an idea of actually shooting this in real space.
Oh, yeah, we joked about that.
We joked about that. That was awesome. That would have been awesome. But anyway, unfortunately, due to creative differences with Disney and Kathleen Kennedy.
The real space budget.
Yeah. They had their creative differences, and he dropped out of the project. Now he is still pretty much credited with writing on this, but a majority of his stuff was pretty much scrap, basically.
Hashtag release the Trevorrow cut.
Release the Trevorrow cut. Now, if you go online, which hopefully T can find these images.
I think so.
But a lot of the images from the Trevorrow cut, as far as the concept art, show more or less a little bit more what was in line as far as continuity from The Last Jedi to Episode 9. And that's what I liked a lot about Trevorrow's cut, because his concept art there was a lot of the same dark tone that was in Last Jedi that was continuing on, especially from the Kylo Ren side, the First Order side. So really good art. A lot of nods to Jedi also. Now, granted, I know that the sequel trilogy mirrors the Holy Trilogy. I get that. But Rey in a black suit with a double-bladed sword, I would have loved to have seen that. But it didn't happen.
We got her in a black robe with a double-sided lightsaber.
Yeah, but that didn't even count. And you gave her shark teeth? What the hell's that? Anyway, so
that's how you tell them apart.
Because he dropped out. Because he dropped out, and Rian Johnson, I believe, was probably busy doing Knives Out. They went back to J.J. Abrams.
Right.
So what the problem with that was, because they listened so much to the complaints of The Last Jedi, it almost seemed like their only mission was to fix everything that was undone from Force Awakens. So technically, this is Force Awakens 2.5, I guess, or, if you really want to count it that.
1.5.
Or 1.5. But yeah, so math. But that's what it seemed like, unfortunately, that they put so much focus and attention to continue Force Awakens and not Last Jedi. Does that make sense?
No, that definitely makes sense. I would say this is going to mirror what's going to happen with BVS, or not BVS, with Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. Watch, they're just gonna bow down to fan service, and we're gonna get everything that everybody complained about, and it's probably not gonna be good. But anyway, back to Star Wars, back to the #1 Star Wars show. My problems with this was too much course correcting. Not just JJ could have just wrote something to follow what Ryan did. Even if he didn't want to use Trevorrow stuff, he could have wrote something at least that would have used what Rian Johnson had already set up. Too much course correcting. I already told you I didn't like the plot of the Dora the Explorer scavenger hunt that went on in this film for the first hour before they actually got to something meaningful in this film. Also, too, I feel like he didn't write. And we mentioned this in prep too. In The Force Awakens, he was trying to make a crew like it was in A New Hope, where you had your pilot, your princess, your Jedi Master, and so on and so forth. But Rian Johnson split them up, so then he wanted to, then force them all back together. And I thought that because where they had grown to in their positions in The Last Jedi, that forcing them back together like this didn't quite make sense to me. Even though at the end they ended up kind of separated anyway.
Okay, but you have to admit that having, because you're actually really seeing that core group together for the first time. Because,
yeah, I guess, right?
Because in Force Awakens, he never met Rey. The Last Jedi, he never met Rey, and then until the end. And then now,
who never met Rey?
Poe. I'm sorry, Poe never met Rey. So, and now, in this one,
wasn't she there?
She got the rocks out. She got them out with the rocks, but that's it. Okay. And this is a time jump, a year time jump after the events of The Last Jedi. So I'm pretty sure, they built that camaraderie and all that. I get it. But, this is the first time that they've really been together. So the time that they've spent together, when they were all together going on the different spots, they were great. I really wish that they would have done that in the first one.
Finn's been talking about you so much. I'm glad to finally meet you.
If J.J. Abrams would have just said screw it and I'll just direct Episode 8, this is what it would have been like, basically.
Okay.
Now, some of the things that were disappointing for me was the fact that you didn't show all the Jedi. For everybody that complains about Hayden Christensen and his wooden acting, everybody wants Hayden Christensen back.
Yeah.
What better way than to bring his Force Ghost back in this movie? Because guess what? The heavily advertised conclusion of a 40-year saga, and you don't have the man that started it all, for time-wise, in the storyline time, was Anakin Skywalker. You don't freaking have him in the movie at all.
They brought back
But
Tarkin.
You bring back Palpatine? Okay.
They brought back Tarkin.
Yeah, they brought back Tarkin. Freaking Rogue One. Anyway, all right. So, had a problem with not showing all the Jedi. If you really want a complete conclusion to a saga that's been since '77, you want those Jedi. I want to see freaking Qui-Gon. I want to see Mace. I want to see freaking Anakin.
You wanted blue Force Ghosts?
I'll take it. I just want to see it. Okay, so had a problem with that. Had a problem with his part of when he writes the line, Luke Skywalker catches the lightsaber when Rey throws it at the burning TIE fighter and says that a Jedi weapon should not be disrespected like that or show more respect. But he's the one that threw it over his shoulder at the Last Jedi. All right, so that was freaking stupid.
Or at the end of Force Awakens.
No, he did it at the end of Last Jedi. At the beginning of the Last Jedi, he did that. I hated that. All right, now here's the thing
that was Rian Johnson's thing, though.
Yeah, I know. It's still.
So once again, he's fixing it.
Yeah, he's fixing it. It's stupid. Anyway, all right. So this is one of the biggest things that really got to me, and besides the continuity and all that, and that was the ending, or more or less towards the climax. Because you have Disney that owns these huge tentpole properties in Star Wars and Marvel, and then you go and you mirror Endgame's climax to a freaking Rise of Skywalker, and it just does not work. You know, you have the on your left scene with freaking Poe, you're not alone, and then all the ships come out and freaking great, yeah. Right. It's not the same. It's not the same. These are ships. Who cares? Now, if they would have tried that and it was all of the Jedi, then that would have been different. If Rey was the recipient of the
goes on your left, and then all of the Jedi run out.
No. Okay, so
Rey says on your left, and then all of the Jedi run out.
Yes. Think about it. I think if Rey was the recipient of the on your left line instead of Poe, it would have been a hell of a lot better.
Oh, Kylo says on your left.
On your left. And then boom, there's Luke, there's Obi-Wan, there's Ewan McGregor, freaking there's everybody there, and then that would have been awesome, and they kill all those
I see the scene now. I can really see the scene now. He's climbing out of the hole, and then he comes up out of the hole, and she's doing this stuff, and he comes up, and he's like, Rey, on your left.
On your left. And then here comes Luke and Hayden and everybody. All right, anyway, so that was one of the biggest problems I had, because that's what happens when you own everything. They start freaking meshing together, and it almost
We need an idea for this.
It almost seemed lazy. It just seemed lazy to me. I hated it. Yeah. So I'm going to give the directing and the writing a complete finger. I'm giving it the hate.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't I already went over what I didn't like about it, so I gotta give it. I disliked it too.
And you also kind of
and the redemption I didn't like.
You also kind of feel sad about freaking Qui-Gon, because if he knew how to self-heal, he'd be all right.
Yeah, he'd been all right. I mean, Maul survived. You know, Qui-Gon should be here right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
You know, freaking Mace. Say he was one of the strongest Jedis, and he didn't know about Force heal.
What are you talking about? Obi-Wan didn't even get really touched. He just disappeared.
Yeah, some of that. All right. Anyway,
if anything, Obi-Wan teleported. Where's Obi-Wan right now? # Where's Obi-Wan?
All right. Next one is visual effects and action sequences.
Yes.
No problems there.
No, I mean, the visual effects have always been one of the staples of the Star Wars franchise. They always get nominated and win, you know.
They were nominated for that.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's something that we kind of take for granted because it's always so great, and we only will think about it when it's not. When we get something, a questionable CGI moment or something like that, to where oh, that's not up to their standard. They've set the bar so high that we just kind of just assume that that's what they're supposed to always do. So they need to get the credit to say, hey, you guys did some great things. A lot of the fight scenes were really, really great.
I thought the cinematography was great too.
Like on the little desert planet, was the desert planet there with the celebration that they were on?
Yeah, sure.
I can't remember that.
But it was still awesome.
Yeah, it was like the fight scenes on there were really, really great. The whole them playing out the scene when they blew up the shuttle, where she blew up the shuttle accidentally, and it was like. They fought the Knights of Ren.
They punked out on that?
Yeah.
They should have let Chewie die?
Yeah.
They punked out?
That's a whole nother conversation, which we already had. So, but yeah, it's like I love what the action scenes that they gave me. It kept you in a moment. I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of like, when have they done a bad action scene?
How about also, you know, the final revelation of a yellow lightsaber?
I mean,
cool.
are we talking about for visual effects that they were able to do yellow?
Yeah, they did yellow. They found a new palette.
They found a new color palette. You thought purple was impressive.
No,
Now they got
yellow.
yellow. I mean, all they did was... No, yellow's a primary color, right?
I'm giving it a like.
Oh, yeah, it's a like. I mean, we should always give it a like. Give Star Wars franchise their flowers and say, hey, you guys have been doing an amazing job with action scenes and visual effects.
Absolutely. So now we're tied 2-2.
Tie 2-2.
Now this is where it can
Why does
go.
it feel underwhelming that with a 2-2 tie when we went on a whole rant on that third one?
Really do. And the plot.
It feels like their wins are so minor, and it still seems like it's leaning the other way. But let's see.
You know what?
We're gonna break
It's almost
tie.
like acting and visual effects were the buzzer beaters that they barely won. They barely
It's
won
like
those
they
games.
should be getting blown out, but somehow the team just keeps letting them score.
Exactly. Thank Lucas for that. All right, so here's the tiebreaker. Can it go either way? Is it going to go to hate? Is it going to go to like? I don't know. Let's go for it. And this is going to be based on the characters. Now, like I said before, this is the core group of the sequel trilogy, and to be honest with you, you have seen some growth in some of the characters. Some of the characters kind of get lost here and there,
Right.
from Last Jedi to Skywalker, but there are a lot, Rey included, that have progressed.
Right.
And okay, so Rey, we love Rey. We like her progression. We talked about that.
I like her arc.
Yeah.
Like I said, it went from kind of like, deer in the headlights, kind of like what's going on and being dragged into all of this
Her
stuff.
confidence
and,
level was higher. That's what I loved about her.
Who am I? What am I? What's my purpose? To her finding a purpose and kind of understanding and seeing it fulfilled all the way through. So I kind of love what they did with her character. Just some minor choices that I felt were because of two different directors that they could have made it a little bit more streamlined. But overall, I think they did a great job with her character.
Yeah, and Oscar Isaac was great as Poe Dameron. Now you see a little bit more.
I feel like in Rise of Skywalker, they slowed down where he was going. I think from 1 to 2, from 7 to 8, it was better defined. And then in this one, he took a step back of where they were pushing his character. I felt like they were pushing his character to be a leader of the rebellion, and then he fell back into just being a fighter pilot.
Okay, but that's because Leia was alive. Technically, she was
Okay.
alive. So who knows whether or not Poe will ever come back? Boyega's already said he's not coming back for any Star Wars at all. Time will tell.
You know why? He's got to get that Pacific 3 money.
The
Pacific Rim 3 money.
And there's also the check, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, so but you get a little bit of a backstory on Poe Dameron, which is it gives a little bit more on his character development, which is why I liked it, because he was a spice runner and all that stuff. So in that regard, I thought Poe Dameron's progression. You're absolutely right. His role in the rebellion, you're right. In the Resistance, you're right.
Resistance, right.
But he himself, I thought that there was some
they gave us
progression
more.
there.
It's like they fleshed him out a little bit more. If we move on to Finn, I still don't feel like I know Finn.
He's the weak point for me.
I feel like I still don't know
Unfortunately,
Finn.
and that's not Boyega's fault. It's just how Finn was written. I thought that he was really interesting in Force Awakens because he was a former stormtrooper.
Right.
And then he kind of gets lost. Yeah, Casino. Why is he in the casino? Anyway, so these last two, that's where he's got lost. He's the only blip on that. That's like, again, not Boyega's fault. That's just the way he was written. But outside of that, you get Billy D back, which to me has not lost a step as Lando Calrissian.
I mean, what steps does he need to take?
Well, he needs a cane to take the steps. But I'm just saying,
he just needs to sit there and
But you see the smoothness, you see everything still there,
I mean, you don't lose smooth.
You don't lose smoothness. Ladies sing the blues still to this day.
There you go. I mean, he could do a Colt 45 commercial right now. Wouldn't feel like it was any
About like
different.
Colt 80, whatever he is. Whatever it is. Okay, okay. So you got new characters. You got Janna.
Didn't need her.
Didn't need her, but she was cool.
Yeah.
She was like the Finn of this one.
She was the Finn of this.
From Force Awakens, she was the Finn of this one.
And that's why it seemed like they only included her character because they were trying to figure out a way to work her in a spinoff.
How about Carrie Russell? Carrie Russell, she had a great costume design. I liked her costume design.
I kind of wanted to know more about that character, but I mean, for what the story was trying to tell, for me, a lot of the side characters that we got introduced into in this movie, I felt were unneeded.
The general.
I don't think they took away from anything. I just don't think what did they really add.
The general and his tie to Palpatine. Like, where the hell were you in Last Jedi?
Right? Dude, Snoke could have used you.
Yeah, Snoke needed you. How come you didn't? All right.
You let Snoke die. But
How is Snoke's red guards better than Palpatine's guards?
oh, like the
Palpatine had no guards around him.
plot hole.
And nobody from nobody from the stands came out to. All right. Anyway, all right.
He's like, I got many regenerative bodies. I don't really care.
Let's go.
Strike me down.
Let's go to Palpatine himself.
All
All right. The makeup on him was freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I had no problem with Palpatine. I was happy that they brought him back. I thought it made sense
Ian
for the
McDermott
film.
didn't even freaking lose a step, man. He was like Jedi all over again. Now, granted, he was a clone, and his consciousness was in this.
He probably talks to his
clone,
family like
but
that. He probably is like,
Do it.
do it.
Go wash the dishes. Do it.
That's how he talks. He tells his kids.
Didn't have a problem with it. Leia, unfortunately, she does pass, so that's that kind of sucks. But it brings a little bit of closure. The training scene between her and Luke was awesome to see.
Great fan service.
I would have loved to see that a little bit more of that. Luke Skywalker,
Right.
a little better. He seemed a little bit more like Luke than he did in Last Jedi.
Yes.
So he had to be
And
happy.
that's
He had to die to be happy.
More JJ and less Johnson. But I will say I was more curious to the whole "I'll be seeing you around" kid line, and I wanted to see how that was going to play out with his
Episode 10.
that Finn won't be back for. I kind of wanted to see that they were going to do with his Force Ghost more that way, and I feel like the fact that what did he really accomplish in this one besides catching lightsaber?
Who? Luke?
Luke.
He told Rey basically to get up.
Yeah.
Get up, you son of a bitch. Because Luke loves you.
Luke loves you.
Okay, so basically Luke Skywalker was Yoda.
Yeah, he was Yoda.
Yoda's role in
Yoda was just
Jedi.
there to die.
Okay. Now, granted, there are some blips in some of the characters. Yes, Babu Freak. It was cute, I guess.
I mean, that was just
C-3PO,
Once again,
R2,
the-
BB-8, the droids were great.
Yeah, so I mean, I felt like they're just pumping in a bunch of characters just to kind of give more toys, more action figures that they could sell. Because now they got like 20 more action figures they can sell based off this one movie, and a bunch of people had very little screen time. So,
Okay, now this dude's on a roll, and I'm like a freaking super fan, and I can't believe we forgot to talk about him in the acting part of this. But freaking Adam Driver as Kylo Ren.
oh yeah,
Like-
he is my favorite person of this whole franchise.
He is absolutely phenomenal. You can put him in the acting part when we're talking about it. Adam Driver was freaking amazing as Kylo Ren.
Can we get a prequel series for?
Well,
Kylo?
they have it. It's in a novel, a graphic novel.
Oh, okay. I was joking. Don't do that.
Well, they did. All right, but as far as a character goes, Kylo Ren was just freaking ruthless. I thought he was more ruthless than he ever was, which is I see your point about how disappointing the redemption was. That he shouldn't even been redeemed. He should have been a lost cause. There is no freaking saving him.
Be evil. Though the redemption scene, I did not have. I mean, not that. Well, the redemption scene with
Harrison
Han Solo,
Ford?
yeah, because I didn't know what to call him, Harrison Ford or Han Solo. With Han Solo, I did not mind that scene. I could see how in the moment where he would go there and how it would make him, he'd have the revelation, and when Leia dies, and thinking about maybe he's gone too far, and then Han giving basically the same speech, but him interpreting it in a different way that he can go home, type deal. I get that. I think JJ did a good thing in doing that, but the overall redemption I feel was dumb, and it didn't need to happen. Just let him be evil. Let him kill Palpatine. Let him run the Sith. Like you said, he already figured out what an Exegol was that nobody could find, but he found it in 5 minutes. He literally wrecked shop on one planet and was like, yep, know where I'm going now.
Mustafar at that.
Yes. Vader's homeworld. They can't guard it better than wreck shop there. I know where I'm going. Boom, let's go. No Jedis can go there and knock that stuff out. No Resistance can go there and knock that out. You know where Vader lives. His place wasn't haunted. It's a freaking lava planet. It's got to only be like one of those. Because then Vader would have had a summer home. And it was like, I'm a Mustafar this time.
Man, it's too hot here. Let's go to Exegol.
I'm going to go to...
It's too cold. It's colder over there.
Yeah, it was like, so we know where he lives. The Resistance could have banged him. That's why I said the little scavenger hunt thing didn't make any sense. But Adam Driver, back to the character himself. Adam Driver's character is Kylo Ren. I think is my favorite thing of this whole series.
And it's funny because when we were actually talking about Force Awakens in the beginning, I was against him, and now I'm like, I bought into the character.
Dude, I've been with him since day one.
Yeah,
I like the tantrums. I like the
hated the
stability
tantrums,
about it. I was like, I
but
think
after
that's
a while,
awesome.
I loved it. Now the thing with the thing that would have made this really a little bit better as far as progression when it comes to the character of Kylo Ren is if he would have just completely redesigned and had a brand new
helmet
mask.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Instead of building it up, because then it defeats the purpose of him smashing it. Because it's like, oh, I just had a tantrum and had a rage. And it's like, let me put this back together.
Yeah.
Anybody got some super glue?
Give me a freaking Kylo Ren Vader type mask.
Some Force strong super glue.
Yeah.
This is, it's in a million pieces here. I got a Force to hold it together.
Yeah, just get it right. Okay, go, get it. All right. So anyway, if there is a weak point as far as Finn, it does drag down the characters, but Kylo Ren saves it. I'm giving it a like.
Yeah, I give it a like for Rey, for Kylo, for Palpatine, for Poe's an iffy one because like I felt like they slowed him down a little bit, but at least they did flesh out his character more.
Lando.
I mean, but Finn. I feel like I still don't know Finn. Rose, I don't know outside of that weird
She was
kiss.
barely in 47 seconds.
That's why they saved the wrong sister.
Oh,
the other sister.
Okay, I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one.
The wrong sister.
All right.
But yes, it gets a like.
It gets a like. So guess what? You don't hate this movie. 3-2.
There you go.
Get the point? Yep. 3-2.
Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Rise of Skywalker. Hits the last minute game-winning buzzer-beating
shot. Game 7. Game 5 is in this case.
They were getting their butt kicked the whole game.
Yep. And they came back and they won and proved that you don't hate this movie.
You don't hate this film.
So some fun facts real quick. Just real quick. It was actually, the budget ballooned up to $275 million, making it one of the most expensive movies ever made.
Well, because they had to do so much to redo things and all of that great CGI and action scenes.
But you factor in, you factor in so much change in personnel that was going to affect the production and slow things down, delay, and all that stuff. So
go to new script. JJ had to write a whole new damn script.
6th highest grossing movie of 2019.
Okay.
And it was nominated for several Academy Awards, 3 Academy Awards.
I bet you the other 5 were all Disney films.
Endgame was number 1, I think. Yeah, Endgame was number 1. And it grossed $1.07 billion.
Wow.
So after marketing and everything, I'm pretty much like the profit will probably be about $500 to $600 million.
A lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros.
And just imagine if they actually had attracted people in it, China would have actually saw it, and it would have made like $2 million.
Well, if Rose would have been the lead, if she would have been Rey, China would have been.
No, they called her ugly.
Remember
they said that's what they
that's
said.
Very true. That's right.
They were like,
that's
they didn't see it because there was no pretty people in the Star Wars franchise because they saved the wrong sister. The pretty one died on the bombing.
Alrighty then.
She should have been Rose. So, I would have accepted the Finn thing, and I was like, dude, Finn, Rey messing around. Go, her. Get it.
There are a lot of problems with Rise of Skywalker, but in all honesty, it was it kind of left you wanting more. It kind of left you a little bit disappointed, like that's it. Or
yeah,
the
final scene left you wanting more.
Because you get the great conclusions of the prequel trilogy in Revenge of the Sith, which to me is the second best Star Wars movie out of all of them. That's just my opinion. And then you have Return of the Jedi, which is one of the best part 3s of all time. And you would think that a conclusion of a 40-year-old saga would actually really, really give you a good punch, just like the way Endgame did in a 10-year saga. Unfortunately,
what if they had a medal ceremony? Would that have made you feel?
No.
But where Chewbacca doesn't get his medal.
But it was he did get his medal.
I know he got his medal.
Yeah, he did get his medal. But you know what? It is what it is. There are some things you're going to complain about, but there are a lot of things that you do like about this movie, and we just proved that you don't hate this movie.
No, of course not. I mean, give it another shot. I mean, just take your I hate this whole new franchise sequel hatred off the plate and just accept it and just watch it and enjoy. You really find a lot of things that you like about this film, and I think it's one of those films where over time the younger generation that saw this film will start to change the narrative, as opposed to all of the older people who saw this film being like the original series people and not wanting to change their Star Wars. Those people will then die off, and the new generation will talk about how great the Rise of Skywalker really was.
But that would be us.
I know it would be us. It would be us. When we're dead, they're gonna be like, "This is the best Star Wars trilogy of all time."
Now, even though the sequel trilogy has its critics, there are a lot of bright spots on it. Now, Terrence and Art actually just did a Rule of Two show talking about whether they should just, retcon the whole friggin' thing and start over. But the truth is that there's a lot of good things on it. And on the sequel trilogy, leave it alone. Let's move on to episode 10 and we go from there.
Dude, Fast and Furious, this thing. And it's like, look, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift happened. Did they go ahead and just
Hell no! They gave us Vin back and they gave us The Rock later.
Yeah, you know what? They just kind of like said, we're just going to jump back a few steps.
So we need The Rock
and then
in
we're
Star
going to
Wars?
get back up to that point, and then by that, we've earned so much goodwill, you don't even care that happened. You don't even care.
All right. Terrence, take us home.
All right, so give us more movies for us to defend, some things that you've been thinking about that at first watch maybe wasn't good, but when you really thought about it, hey, it wasn't that bad of a film. We'd love to talk about them. There's a lot of films that we like that a lot of people don't like, and we'd love to defend those too. Though we have been on quite a hiatus. So
Captain Marvel was our last one.
Captain Marvel was our last one.
You don't hate, yeah.
And
that's crazy.
I'm just gonna blame everything on COVID. COVID's the reason why we haven't done another You Don't Hate. So give us some suggestions. Let us go out there. One I thought about, but I kind of want to know what your thought process is, because we keep saying these and we need to rewatch all of these, because there's probably like 10 of these little suggestions.
Swinging at Bandit Part 3.
No. The He-Man. The Masters of the Universe. Yeah.
That's all right. It don't stand up today. It's like doing Howard the Duck.
Yeah, because I was watching a documentary on it, and I was like, you know what? I hated this movie when it first came out, but I kind of like it now. I kind of like it. Being older kind of makes me feel a little different about that movie.
I'm still going back and forth on Howard the Duck.
Oh, God, this is not a good movie at all. I literally rewatched, no, I didn't watch it. I was watching.
You get duck boobs in that movie.
You do. You get duck boobs and a lot of sexual tension between a duck and a real person, a woman person.
Yeah. Marty's mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was her. It's just all types of weird now. All right, so make sure you guys comment about how you guys felt about Rise of Skywalker. I would love to not read all of the angry, hatred comments that you guys have put. But go ahead and put them down there anyway. Make sure you like this video. Like this video. Don't dislike Rise of Skywalker and dislike the video. Like this video.
Yeah. You can, if you dislike the movie, cool. But like the video and leave a comment on why you don't like it.
Thank you. Do that. Make sure you subscribe as well, because we're now going to be getting back on our horse and doing this stuff again. So that way you'll get the notification of when we actually post a new You Don't Hate.
All right. For Aspen and Art, wherever the hell they're at, I'm Manny.
Hi, guys. And today's movie that you don't hate. I forgot about that. It's the Rise of Skywalker, right? Yeah, okay, there we go.
3, 2, 1.
Star Wars.